Welcome to Wake Up Epic. This is an experience for the 27th hexagram. The 27th hexagram, if we look at it through the gene keys, is the themes of selfishness, the shadow of selfishness, and the gift of altruism. And so, like Beatrice brilliantly said earlier, we are here to feel and have an experience in addition to having things explained. I won't be explaining things, you'll be explaining things to yourself and to each other through the movement patterns. So what we're looking at is the top trigram and the bottom trigram of the hexagram. The top trigram is yin, yin, yang, which means we're shifting back in our body, we're dropping down in our body, and we're going wide in our body. And we're building this, I'm building this using UZAZU, the mind-body method. So as we go through this practice, we're going to be looking at the embodiment. We'll look at the embodied story. We'll activate 4 specific beliefs that come out of the movements, and then we'll do a final wrap up and smoothing out what you're discovering for yourself in the pattern. So we start with yin, yin, yang, the top trigram. This is the context. It's like, where are we? Well, we are starting back. Do this with me. Starting back and then down in your seat, relaxing using gravity, and then going wide. And this forms a shape called cradle. And cradle is essentially a space or a state of mindfulness, of self-awareness. So it's self. And even though I'm on the screen and you're listening, put more attention on yourself. You can't do this wrong. So this is a state of, or inviting us to align with a state of mindfulness, self-compassion, unconditional positive regard, being emotionally stable, and of course, anything that doesn't allow us to have that self-compassion, to have unconditional self-regard, is going to show up. Memories, thoughts, feelings. So let that go for a moment. And practice making the choice. Shift back, down, wide, into cradle. And so with the top of the trigram being cradle, it's like asking, what's it like to be in a world that supports us with mindful self-compassion? And how many of us got that in our families? Maybe now and then. We got it through community these days. It's more conscious community and family and friends. So there's a lot we could play with just at this level of what's it like to be supported by mindful self-compassion. That's the top trigram. Then we drop down into the bottom of the trigram, or the hexagram, the bottom trigram, which is yang, yin, yin. So we come forward, yang. We stay down and we come narrow. So forward, down, and narrow, which forms bridge. So bridge is a state of, I'm with you now. I was over here being compassionate with myself, and now I'm coming forward, focusing, attuning, resonating. So in an ideal state here, bridge is empathy. I can get you. There's being present with someone specific. I'm here with you. Not all of these things, with you. If we have any challenge with connection, with empathy, maybe we do sympathy instead of empathy, we can notice that here. Like, what's it like to choose to be with you? And we can start to manage any kind of conflicts. Like, I really want to do this, but this other person wants my attention. And we can start to notice those experiences very specifically with our body. So what's the embodied story if we just look at the hexagram? Well, it's something like, in this world that supports us with compassion, in a world that holds us, I choose to connect.
Oh, wow.
Having connected, I'm contributing to a world that supports. And that's the cycle. So in this world of self-compassion, coming toward the bridge, I choose to listen. I choose to understand you. I seek to understand before being understood. And from that place, aligning with that, there's a contribution to a world that supports. So then what the heck is altruism? What is altruism? Because think about all the thoughts we have about altruism: to give, to be generous, to not be selfish. Okay, well, can we believe that there's an abundance of support? We have faith that we are supported. Not that we'll get rewarded, not that we'll, be rewarded or punished, just that there is support. Like, here's gravity, there are people, etc. And from that kind of an abundance, that specific abundance, allow ourselves to connect. What's the quality of the connection that comes from that abundance of support? Is it selfish or is it more generous? Are there attachments and expectations, or is there something else? And then imagine we had all the time in the world to have the connections with all the people we're here to connect to. And then how we get to go home. How does that inform our experience of the world as a supportive place? What's selfishness? So let's do these, but with a big no in front of it. So no empathy. Let's start with the mindfulness. No mindfulness, no containment, no self-compassion. So we're starting in cradle here, back down and wide. But the attitude is like, no, this is no. Nope, not going to be self-compassionate. Nope, self-loving? Nope. Emotional stability? What's that? From there, let's go not be empathic. So go screw up your bridge. Like, how does your bridge get screwed up? Like, I don't even want to F you. I just want a bunch of middle fingers. Like, what happens for you when you're just like, nope, no, I don't care to understand you. Attune with you? No. Be attentive of you? Exactly, yeah. Hands like this. Beth, you're like, hands are kind of like claws. So just noticing, just noticing it, and then how is this going to contribute to a world of support or not? If this is our experience of connection, and now we're coming back to caring for ourselves, or feeling that it's possible to be cared about. Okay, relax, let that go. The beauty of doing this, one of the beauties of doing this with our body, and like witnessing our body have these responses, is we're actually processing it. We're learning it. There's metaphor, but in it, we're actually processing. In fitness, in certain fitness programs, as well as a lot of mind-body programs, there's the idea that doing the assessment is doing the cleanup. We're bringing awareness to the issue, and then by recognizing, oh, I'm clawing and middle fingering and pushing you away, it takes it out of our blind spots. And so just witnessing that, noticing that, begins the process of change. Later in real life, this is our practice in life, that though the behaviors that are associated with that, or the behaviors that our body won't allow us to experience, they become something we can see and something we can choose. So that's one of the great things about doing this directly with our body. The beliefs. So what are the beliefs that come out of this? We've got the shadow of selfishness. We've started to feel what that's like, and the gift of altruism, what the potential there is. What are the possibilities, the actual beliefs that can come out of this? So I'm going to say 4 of them, and they're all in the bucket of differentiating our feelings and our needs from others. So we just purely look at, I have this boundary, and I can connect. I have a boundary and I can connect. And I can mitigate, I can manage these two. I can work with these skillfully. The result is, hey, we can differentiate feelings from other. And if we can differentiate feelings from others, then how much freedom can we have connecting while having compassion? So we just keep blending these two. So there's 4 statements. As I read them, I'm going to invite all of us to keep doing the movement pattern. So you're practicing this. This is a skill you can use forever. As I do them, you will just do cradle and bridge. Now, there's no wrong way to do it. And the best way to do it is to keep listening to your body. If your body ever wants to slow down or stop, just do that. Breathe and let it settle. The more you settle and the less effort you bring into the system, the more you receive. So it's a very feminine quality approach that we're taking here. Any questions? Does that more or less make sense? Okay, so let's start with neutral. Just relax. And then choose cradle, shift back. Come forward to bridge once. And back to cradle. There's the movement pattern. So you can now flow as you like. Repeat after me now. I can easily discern which feelings are mine and which are not. And notice how those words impact the flow of this movement. It's okay for me to not take on other people's feelings. I can have strong and healthy energetic boundaries and healthy practical boundaries with others. And I can listen. And I can honor my own needs and preferences with others. Finish the cycle you're on in cradle, and then rest in neutral. Okay. You don't have to remember any of that. Great yawning. Yawning, I started calling yawns mind-body U-turns. It's like our mind thinks this, our body's going that way, and all of a sudden it's like, how do we go in the right direction? And yawns are a nice alignment piece. Okay, so we've just catalyzed your body, mind, soul, spirit system. Take a quick look around the room and notice the room is like the cradle for you, and the world is like the cradle for you, and the universe is like the cradle for you. And so you exist in this space that is objectively just there, not going away, totally reliable. So we've disturbed or catalyzed our system with these statements, and now bringing some awareness to the cradle that is the space. We'll take a few minutes now to finalize this by just doing the movement practice, minimal words by me. It's just nice to have that time to 2 to 3 minutes, just do the practice and notice. So again, you can't do it wrong. You're just gently ironing out wrinkles. If your body says, slow down or stop, just stop, breathe, notice. You may or may not have specific awareness of it. It just might be a sensational experience. And maybe there's thoughts, feelings, emotions, and memories. And then we'll wrap up with a little bit of a check-in, and we'll say good night for this Wake Up Epic for today. So I'll start us off, and then I'll mostly be silent. Shift back to cradle, and be aware of the space. All the cradleness, all the containment that reliably holds you. And then make the choice to shift into a bridge, a choice to connect. I connect. Hang out as long as you want. Find a sweet spot, because sometimes we can overdo it or it'll underdo it. Just find a place that feels like something's clicked into place. Back to cradle, be aware of the cradle, and on and on. If some natural affirmations or words come to mind, say them to yourself and have a cycle, a feedback cycle of feeding in words, message, and then embodying, and again and again. Last few moments, what is the highest possibility, or the highest message, the final takeaway for you? Crystallize that into some words as well. Finish and cradle. And acknowledge the way that you are offering what you're bringing to the table for yourself and what you're getting for yourself. And then somehow, even in doing all that, there's a contribution to the whole. Like somehow by being selfish, you're being altruistic. Let go of the cradle, let go of the practice, come into neutral, move your body in a way that just feels good. I'll wrap this practice up with some words. So it's an opportunity to name, claim an insight, an awareness, a breakthrough, a memory, anything you want. For example, what really started to land for me there was a sense of it's safe to feel good with others. Very just a deep, it's safe to feel good with others. So that's it, just a sentence or something that you want to name and be witnessed around.
Yeah, I loved that. It was, I love the idea of embodying it. I noticed in the body rather than words. So when I was in the cradle position, I noticed that I had, stuff on my shoulders that needed to be released. And when I was like this, right, I needed to switch the hands as I was putting it out to kind of, it was really cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For me, is that I felt constricted at first because been feeling like I have to give of myself a lot lately, and my cup is kind of languishing empty, and that apprehension that I need to ask for my own cup to be filled, well, while I'm supposed to be giving, it was stressing me out. So kind of like at a certain point I was like, okay, and now I open and I'm not apprehensive anymore.
Fantastic. Thanks, Beth.
For me, was the cradle position really made me feel stability. And that stability made me reach and connect. And that meant, that suggested the word growth. That growth brought me to myself, and much more reliability and stability that was achieved through connection, and that made me grow again. So it's kind of like a evolution spiral of evolution. I really felt the flow in this, and I mean my fingers tingled fantastically in this move. So thank you for the experience, Alex.
Wonderful. You're welcome. And everybody who's doing this wake up practice later at another time, comment if there's a comment space below, or feel free to reach out to me. So this completes our wake up epic for the 27th hexagram gene key and human design gate. Thank you for your altruism and for showing up. Thanks for creating stability for everybody that you create stability for. And thanks for your courage again and again, no matter what you've gone through, to connect to others in meaningful ways.